described as what the purpose of the church kind of is. And I know you're in a public arena, so it's a little bit different, but my world has been the church for over 20 years and having, grown up in it too. So it's much longer than that. But this idea of embodiment, the transformation aspect, even, and I think we both talked to the same person, Kelly Kapic, where he gets into.
I love Kelly's work, and he's fantastic, and he's so fun to talk to.
Yeah, we had a lot of fun on the show because he was a guest on the show. But also Alan Noble, he wrote a book called
You Are Not Your Own.
Yeah, because Alan was on the show. And then we have
gosh, I'm so honored. Really, what am I doing on here? These are luminaries.
You're the best one. You're the best one so far. You are the queen. But
you're rambling guest.
Christopher Watkin is coming on, who just wrote the most recent book. I don't know if you can see that, Biblical Critical Theory, and it's on higher Christian theory.
I've been a lot of people are talking about this. Yeah, it's coming my way. I think it's in my Amazon queue.
Well, we're trying to find these tangible ways, because it was my contention that modernity has really shaped us in, as Noble says, inhuman ways. Humans have created inhuman institutions and practices. And it's funny to me that even when you look, and I try to analyze this, it sounds so silly, but looking at Jesus movies, this is going to sound weird, but in the beginning, the Jesus movies really focused on the deity of Jesus.
Yes.
But as they've transitioned, it's because we were so in touch with our humanity, we needed the deity. But with the rise of technology and the pseudo omnis, meaning that we're really not omniscient, but it feels like we can know everything. We really are not omnipresent, but we feel like we can be present with the social media and technology. We've lost touch with our humanity. So you see, even in like The Chosen, Jesus is becoming more human. He's
and their disciples are superhuman, which is how I hope they were. It's been encouraging to know what really was not John. What's the Matt? Peter. I was like, was Peter really such a badass? Like, I guess that's kind of encouraging. Like, we don't have to be all squeaky clean.
Or we were watching the video where he gets alone with his wife and we see each other for a while. And I was like, I'm watching with my kids.
I know.
But I'm like, this is Dad. The most real episode I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
Even bringing Matthew being autistic. And when he sends off James and Simon the Zealot, the tax collector, Matthew, he sends off Matthew and Simon the Zealot, one who's an anarchist and one who was working for the government. You know what I mean? And he brings these two together. Talk about political differences. But it seems that you guys have really tried to create and capture, and I love what you said, give language to us who are working in the world, and you're in a sphere that many of us have not familiar with, and I know we're not going to get to it today because we're out of time. I know that you have time that you have to keep, so we have to do this again because we're just getting warmed up.
We're just getting warmed up. I know. I feel the same way. I'm like, now we need to have a whole conversation about Christian humanism, and is that a phrase that will even work after generations of people thinking the word humanism is like horrible? But we need to have because this is where I'm like spending a lot of my strategic and intellectual and just like frankly discerning time these days, because I think there's like I don't know, I don't necessarily say like the Holy Spirit, but I do think there is something going on in this. There is a bridge moment, and I experienced this even doing the character project. Like, I have a podcast called The Whole Person Revolution, which is sort of what I wished I had been able to call this fabric of character book. But there is like this humanistic renaissance happening in different quarters of our society. And I just think this is like the open door for Christians to like really meditate on the humanity of Christ. Of course, not at all at the expense of his divinity. But there's something going on, even as we think about how Christianity is being used as a sponsor of certain cultural projects that are lifting up only certain kinds of humans as like the ideal human and not, I mean, there's just like many implications for how we think more deeply about the human person and Christianity's relation to that question over centuries throughout the world that I just find extremely important and timely and rich territory. but we need to do it in a way that like applies to the person running a healthcare center in Des Moines, you know? So like I need to, and that's like the bridging, there's multiple bridging challenges, but I would love to have a sequel conversation.
We're going to have a sequel conversation because you're even opening up again. I'm like, no, we can't start another conversation right now.
Sorry.
It's so, because we'll geek out all day.